Okay, welcome back. So in this exercise that we have in here on the Excel spreadsheet, we are going to do a new arbitrage strategy. Do you remember the first one that we learned with the triangular arbitrage? In that one, we didn't consider time. The arbitrage happened at the same time. It was only between three different countries, but now it's going to be different because apart from moving throughout space, different countries, we're also going to move through time. So it's going to be time and space in this strategy. So the name of this strategy is called covered interest or CIA. Sometimes we call it CIA. So why is it called covered? Well, the key thing is that we have the price of a forward contract. Do you remember from the last partial what is a forward contract? It is a contract that you are forced to buy, where you force yourself to buy or sell an asset at a certain price in the future. So that's why this price, 103.5, is the price that at which we can buy or sell yens or dollars. So with these prices, with this data, we are going to build a strategy. We're going to see if we can make some profit. So let me show you the way in which we can solve this problem. So the thing in here is that we have an available investment of $1 million. That's what we have at the beginning. So we can do whatever we want with the $1 million. And we have all of this. The spot rate at day 0, so today, is 106. In 6 months, the forward price is 103.5. That means that someone is willing to buy or sell pound, yens or dollars at this price, 103.5. Then our strategy has a time frame of 6 months. That's why we have 180 days, okay? And then we have the interest rate of the US and the interest rate of Japan. So we can invest in Japan or in the US, and that's what we are going to do. Let's see if we can make some profit with this strategy. Let me show you. So the very first step that we need to do is to first just write what you have in the present and in the local country. In this case, the local country is the US. So we start with $1 million. So the first thing that we should calculate is if we stay in the US, how much money will we get in the future in 6 months, right? So how do we calculate that? It's very simple. You need to calculate the future value of the $1 million. So how do you calculate future value? Using simple interest, where it's going to be $1 million times 1 plus, and then the parentheses again. And then you will have to use the American rate, which is 8%, times 180, that will be time over 360. It's similar to the formula that we just learned about pricing a forward, okay? So if you stay in the US, you will make your $1 million will turn into $1,040,000, okay? So that's the first thing that we are going to calculate. What do we have in the future? The other thing that we can do is to move to Japan, right? Like we change our dollars to yens and then we invest in Japan and then we go back to the US. That's what we are going to calculate in here. What we are going to do is to go from the US to Japan. So we need to change the currency from dollars to yens. And then we are going to invest in Japan. And then with that money, we are going back to the US. So the first thing to do is to calculate how many dollars can I get, how many yens can I get with $1 million. So what should I do? I should use the spot rate, this one, but should I divide or multiply? If I have dollars on top and dollars at the bottom, it should be multiplying. So I will get 106 million yen. Okay, that is the only thing that I did was to convert dollars to yens. And then I will invest in Japan. So what will I do? I will need to calculate the future value of my investment in yens using the Japanese rate. So 180 over 360. So my investment will turn into 108 million yen, 120,000. And the last thing that I need to do is to go back to the US, right? So how do I go back to the US? It's very simple. You only need to convert your yens to yuans. So how do you, to yuans, to dollars, sorry. So you need to convert yens to dollars. How do you do this? You have this amount of yen, and then be careful because now you have to use the forward rate, not the spot, the forward. Why? Because we are in the future. So should I divide or multiply? Now I have yen and yen on top, so I need to divide. Okay, so this is the result. If we do this strategy, we will get a profit of how much? $4,637, okay? So this is how you solve a problem like this. It's very simple. You just need to follow the steps. And this kind of table that I have in here, I think it's very simple because in here, we are talking about the present, right? This is the present. So that's why we use a spot, right? That's why we use a spot. Over here, we have the future. It's in 6 months. That's why we use the future to convert our yens. And finally, this line over here, this line in here is about dollars. It's in the US. And the line at the bottom is about Japan. That's why we use the Japanese interest rate, right? So in here, we use the 4%, and over here, we use the 8%. And in the end, if we do this calculation, we conclude that we have a profit of 4,637. It is possible that you can get a loss. If you get a loss, then your conclusion should be to don't do the strategy, okay? So that will help you to solve the activities. I think it's activity 6 and homework 6. Let me explain you really fast this thing with homework and activity. I think I have it in here. It's activity 6. So in activity 6 is very simple. You have the exchange rate between, I think it's Danish crown and dollar. The time frame is 3 months, so use 90. Then you have the interest rate of the US, so it's the annual rate, 3%. And then the Danish interest rate is 5%. And the question is, can you make profit using CIA strategy? So what you have to do is that you have to do what we just did on Excel. And we have exactly the same numbers on the second exercise. The only thing that changes is the interest rate of the US. As you can see, it is the same, the spot, the forward, and the Danish interest rate. The only thing that changes is the American rate. So you have to do both simulations and tell me which one is correct. That is for the activity, and the homework that, as you know, you have the whole week to finish it. It's a little bit more complicated, but just a little bit. Why? Because in here we have two complications. First, we have bid and ask. So do you remember that from the triangular arbitrage with bid and ask? So you have to be careful when you convert the dollars and the Swiss francs. Be very careful choosing what are you going to use, bid or ask when you convert your currency. And the other thing is that you have two different forwards, one for 6 months and the other one for 2 years. So you have to be careful using the data. I will add another video solving these problems, so you can also check them if you have any trouble in your homework. And I will also do another video solving this one over here. But this one over here, it's quite similar, but the difference is that we don't have a forward. So I will explain you how to solve this one over here. And finally, this is the absolute PPP table that you already know how to solve it. It's like the thing from the Big Mac index. So if you take a look at what we learned last week, you're going to be able to solve it. So in the next videos, I will be solving this exercise and the other exercise.